Welcome back to the BookCast. Today we are unpacking every layer of the incredible novel, Anna Karenina.
Uh-huh.
Get ready for a deep dive into its characters, themes, and the hidden meanings behind the story.
It's going to be great.
We're going to pull back the curtain on this classic, showing you why it remains so utterly compelling, even nearly 150 years after its first publication.
Okay, so let's unpack this incredible creation by Leo Tolstoy, starting right at its surprising origin.
Yeah, it's not what you'd expect, is it?
Not at all. You'd think a masterpiece like Anna Karenina would begin with some, grand, profound inspiration, maybe a burning philosophical question or a tragic news story that demanded to be told.
Right,
Yep.
something really dramatic.
But what we learn about its genesis is far more casual, almost disarmingly simple.
It really is.
Tolstoy, in a moment that could have been just like any other, simply picked up a volume of Pushkin's prose.
Just like that.
And what was his immediate, almost spontaneous exclamation? Here's something charming. This is the way to write. Pushkin goes to the heart of the matter. Wow, just straight out like that.
It's an insight that strikes with such directness, almost a lightning bolt of recognition.
And what's truly fascinating here is that directness of Pushkin's writing that so captivated Tolstoy. It wasn't about complex plots or like flowery descriptions. It was about an unvarnished truth, a clarity that cut straight to the core of human experience. That immediate compulsion to emulate Pushkin's precise, straightforward approach is what compelled Tolstoy to shut himself in his library and, begin Anna Karenina.
Amazing.
It's a powerful testament, really, to how creative genius can be ignited by the most unexpected quiet moments, like the casual act of reading a book.
It wasn't some big plan.
No, not a pre-planned grand design. It was an organic, visceral reaction to a literary style that just resonated deeply with his own artistic sensibilities at that moment, sparking this, monumental creative endeavor.
And what a labor that endeavor became. I mean, the publication history itself is a story of fascinating starts and stops.
Oh, definitely. It wasn't smooth sailing.
Anna Karenina first began appearing in Ruski Viesnik, or Russian Messenger, in 1875. But it was far from a smooth, continuous serialization.
Not at all.
It was frequently interrupted, with months and sometimes even like years lapsing between parts.
Years. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine being a reader back then, eagerly devouring each installment, only to face such long, agonizing waits for the next chapter to arrive?
Torture for the fans, I bet.
Yet despite these extended breaks, sometimes a several-month hiatus, the public's interest never cooled. This wasn't some quick, easy project that flowed effortlessly from Tolstoy's pen, even though he was already, a literary giant.
Right, he was already famous.
It was a true test of endurance for both author and audience.
Which, raises an important question for us. How did Tolstoy feel about this work that captivated so many, even when it was unfinished?
Yeah, what was going on in his head?
His feelings were surprisingly contradictory, almost a push and pull of indifference and intense passion. It's really interesting.
Like what?
After the first part appeared, he famously wrote to a friend, "You praise Anna Karenina, and that is very pleasant to me.
Yeah.
But I am sure that there never was an author more indifferent to his success than I am in this case."
Indifferent.
That's what he said. And a year later, that sentiment hadn't entirely faded. He was still expressing a certain annoyance, calling it a dull, commonplace task he wanted to rid my desk of to make room for other tasks.
Wow, he called it dull and commonplace.
He did. It's a profound glimpse into the psyche of an artist, isn't it? The struggle behind the scenes.
That's the real aha moment for me when we dig into this. Even for someone of Tolstoy's caliber, a figure we often imagine as effortlessly churning out masterpieces, it wasn't always, smooth sailing.
Not at all. Very human.
He claimed to be indifferent, almost annoyed with this dull, commonplace task. Yet, despite his fatigue, his occasional disdain, and the interruptions, the spirit of the novel, the compelling narrative, the characters that began to live and breathe would seize him again.
It pulled him back in.
We know that much of it was written with almost breathless haste once he really took hold of it again.
Yeah, that energy came back.
This ebb and flow, this wrestling match between reluctance and intense creative bursts, makes Anna Karenina less like some divinely inspired, effortless text and more like a deeply human endeavor, born from genuine effort and sometimes, genuine reluctance.
It really humanizes the whole creative process, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
Shows us the messy, imperfect reality behind monumental works of art.
It absolutely does. And this is more than just like a biographical footnote. It's a profound insight into the very nature of creation itself.
Mm.
It tells us that true genius isn't a constant, effortless flow, but often a wrestling match, a period of indifference or even disdain, followed by an almost obsessive, almost feverish, breathless haste.
Right, that back and forth.
This internal conflict in Tolstoy himself, reflected in his writing process, underscores the genuine effort and deep personal investment that goes into such a work. It makes the eventual triumph of Anna Karenina all the more remarkable, born from struggle rather than effortless perfection.
Yeah.
And this struggle connects directly to the novel's core philosophical explorations. Polovor, in his History of Russian Literature, observes a sharp contrast between the frivolity, the tinsel brightness, the tumult and vanity of the worldly life,
Okay.
and the sweet, holy calm enjoyed by those who, possessing the soil, live amid the beauties of nature and the pleasures of the family. This contrast, he notes, isn't accidental. It's the very heartbeat of the story.
So what does this foundational philosophical divide mean for the novel and how we understand it? I mean, this isn't just an abstract idea.
No, not at all. It's very concrete.
This sharp contrast directly reflects Tolstoy's own dual nature. He himself grappled with the tension between the artificiality and conventions of high society, what he often saw as the frivolity and vanity of the worldly life,
Right, the fancy balls and politics.
and his profound yearning for a simpler, more authentic existence rooted in nature, manual labor, and the sanctity of family.
Something real, something grounded.
This wasn't just an abstract idea for him, it was a deeply personal, lifelong struggle, which he then infused into his characters. You see this duality vividly portrayed in the contrasting careers and lives of two main characters who stand at opposing poles, Konstantin Levin and Count Vronsky.
Ah, yes, the two main strands.
One embodies that restless, yearning quest for the holy calm of nature and family, while the other navigates the glittering, often superficial world of high society and self-indulgence.
Exactly. And the interweaving of these two seemingly disparate stories, Levin's journey of self-discovery and spiritual yearning, and Anna and Vronsky's passionate, tragic affair within society's strictures, is done with, well, a masterly hand.
It's brilliant how he does it.
You could theoretically read them separately, I suppose, but the novel makes it clear that each without the other would be evidently incomplete.
They need each other for the full picture.
Absolutely. This contrast isn't just for flavor. It's the foundational lens through which you understand the characters' choices, their struggles, and ultimately, the novel's larger, profound message about the human condition, societal expectations, and the search for meaning.
It shapes everything.
It's like two strands of a beautifully twisted rope following their own courses, yet inextricably linked to form a single, complex, and powerful whole.
What's truly incredible about Anna Karenina is its enduring realism. As you
Wow.
dive into its pages, you often forget it's a work of
It
fiction.
really pulls you in.
It feels, as one observer put it, like a transcript of real life.
Yeah.
The characters' emotions, their internal struggles, the nuanced social dynamics, the intricate details of daily existence, it all feels so tangible, so authentic.
Just real.
You're not just reading a story, you're stepping into a living, breathing world.
And this immersive quality is precisely what draws you in, what makes it feel so eternally relevant. It's not just a story about life, it is life, rendered with meticulous, unflinching detail. Tolstoy achieves this through a vast accumulation of pictures, each illustrating and explaining the vital elements of the epopee. And that term, epopee, is crucial here.
What does that mean exactly?
It refers to a grand, epic narrative, not just a simple tale, but a sweeping, comprehensive portrayal of an entire society, its values, its contradictions, and the human condition within it.
So bigger than just a novel.
Exactly. Tolstoy isn't just telling a story. He's crafting a living, breathing world where every meticulous detail, every nuanced interaction serves to build this vast, intricate tapestry of 19th century Russian life.
You feel like you're there.
You feel you're not just observing these characters, but living alongside them, experiencing their joys and sorrows as if they were your own. This profound realism is key to its enduring power, making it a mirror to our own lives, despite the historical setting.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting because now we get to meet the people who inhabit this transcript of real life.
The cast of characters.
The novel centers around a complex family nexus, predominantly the Oblonskys and the Karenins, whose lives become intricately intertwined in a dramatic social tapestry.
It's all connected.
You'll primarily follow the story of Alexei Alexandrovich Karenin, a high-ranking impeccably formal government official.
Very proper, very stiff.
His wife, the beautiful and ultimately tragic Anna Arkadyevna Karenina, often referred to as Madame Karenin,
The title character, of course.
and Count Alexei Kirillovich Vronsky, a dashing aristocratic military officer who embodies a very different kind of social grace.
The charming rival.
Then there's Prince Stefan, or Stiva Arkadyevich Blonsky, who is Anna's charming but morally lax brother.
Ah, Stiva. We'll get to him.
And his long-suffering wife, Princess Daria, affectionately known as Dolly Alexandrovna Blonsky.
Poor Dolly.
We'll also meet Kitty Sharatskaya, Dolly's younger sister, whose romantic hopes and subsequent journey for meaning form a powerful counterpoint to Anna's narrative.
A very important counterpoint.
And finally, the complex and searching figure of Konstantin Levin, a country landowner and friend to the Oblonsky family, whose own philosophical and personal quest forms the heart of the novel's exploration of authentic life.
Levin, the seeker. And these characters, as we'll see, are far more than mere names on a page. They are vivid reflections of different facets of Russian society and, the universal human condition.
Right, they represent different things.
Karenin, for instance, represents rigid duty, societal convention, and a certain emotional dryness that struggles to comprehend genuine passion.
He just doesn't get it.
Anna and Vronsky, on the other hand, embody passion, its intoxicating allure, its exhilarating power, and its often explosive, destructive consequences when it clashes head-on with the unyielding expectations of society.
Fire and ice, almost.
Stiva, with his easygoing charm, his moral flexibility, and his talent for self-deception, acts as a social lubricant, constantly navigating between these contrasting worlds, often oblivious to the true depth of the pain he causes.
He just floats through.
Dolly struggles profoundly with the harsh realities of domestic life and infidelity, representing the quiet endurance of a woman bound by family and societal norms.
So much strength there.
Kitty embarks on a journey from youthful romantic idealism to a deeper, more mature understanding of love and purpose.
Her arc is fascinating.
And Levin, as we mentioned, is the seeker, representing Tolstoy's own, wrestling with questions of faith, labor, and the pursuit of a meaningful, unpretentious existence.
Tolstoy's voice, in a way.
Their dramatic interactions, their evolving relationships, and their individual struggles truly set the stage for the powerful and deeply layered narrative that unfolds before us.
Okay, let's jump right into the thick of it, into Chapter 1, which kicks off the whole sprawling narrative with an immediate, chaotic sense of crisis.
Right from the first page, bam.
We enter the Oblonsky household on a morning of utter disarray, a domestic earthquake that shatters any illusion of tranquility. Dolly, Stiva's wife, has just discovered his affair with the French governess, an act that reverberates through every corner of their grand but now fractured home. The opening lines paint a vivid picture of the immediate chaos. The wife did not come out of her own rooms. The husband had not been at home for 2 days.
Global breakdown.
The children were running over the whole house as if they were crazy. The English maid was angry with the housekeeper and wrote to a friend begging her to find her a new place. The head cook had departed the evening before, just at dinner time. The kitchen maid and the coachman demanded their wages.
It's complete meltdown, a household in open rebellion, reflecting the moral disarray at its heart.
And what's truly revealing here is Stiva's internal world and his reaction to this complete collapse of domestic order.
Yeah, how does he react?
We first encounter him waking in his library on a leather-covered divan, and his groan, ah, as he recollects everything, is almost comical in its self-pity.
Like a child caught out.
But the unforgettable detail is the stupid smile that Dolly saw, which she described as a physical pain.
Oh, that smile.
Oh.
Brutal.
This smile wasn't a sign of callousness or malice, but a deeply ingrained, almost automatic reflex of his good-humored facade, a charming habit of avoidance.
He just can't help himself.
His regret isn't for the act itself, the betrayal of his wife, but rather for not succeeded in hiding it better from her.
Unbelievable. Not sorry he did it, sorry he got caught.
He even attempts to justify his behavior internally, assuming Dolly had long been aware that he was not faithful to her and looked at it through her fingers.
Making excuses in his own head.
He convinces himself that Dolly had lost her freshness, was beginning to look old, was no longer pretty, and far from distinguished and entirely commonplace, implicitly believing her innate sense of justice would somehow plead for him, would allow her to understand his needs.
Wow. Blaming her for his own actions. That tells you everything about his deeply self-serving, almost childlike perspective, where his desires take precedence over responsibility or genuine empathy.
Stiva is such a perfectly crafted character, a master of self-delusion and social maneuver. He's described as this charismatic, universally liked liberal, a man who effortlessly floats through society.
Everyone likes Steva, right? On the surface.
He reads a liberal paper, which, as Tolstoy masterfully points out, advocated those principles which the majority held. He possessed an almost chameleon-like ability to change his views only when the majority changed them.
Goes with the flow. No real convictions.
He's a man of convenience, not conviction, someone who values comfort and social acceptance above all else. His very identity is molded by external forces, by what's fashionable or personally advantageous, rather than any deep-seated belief.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Steve's liberalism isn't born from any profound social conscience. It's entirely self-serving.
Completely.
He casually declares that marriage was a defunct institution, a convenient philosophy that suited his personal situation perfectly, especially since he had a good many debts and was decidedly short of money.
Ah, so it suits his lifestyle.
Exactly. His principles are remarkably flexible, aligned precisely with his comfort and lack of responsibility, rather than with any deep moral stance.
Even with his kids.
Even his interactions with his children are telling, a fleeting affection that lacks true depth. He kisses his daughter, but acknowledges less love for the little boy. Yet he tries to be impartial, as if objectivity could compensate for genuine paternal affection.
Trying to be fair, but not really loving.
Steva embodies the frivolity, the tinsel brightness, the tumult and vanity of the worldly life that Pulvar describes as a core theme of the novel. He's adaptable, charming, and prioritizes his own ease and gratification over almost everything else.
A perfect example of that side of society.
Serving as a vivid example of a certain self-absorbed, hedonistic side of society, a stark contrast to the values Tolstoy himself championed.
Meanwhile, Dolly, in stark contrast, is consumed by raw, visceral anguish. When Stiva approaches her, trying to manage the situation with his usual charm, she cries out, "Go away! Go away! Go away!"
Just pure pain.
Her words are torn from her by physical agony, a deep, gut-wrenching pain that physicalizes her emotional torment. She feels utterly chained by her 5 children, feeling trapped and unable to leave him, and the mere sight of Stiva is torture for her.
Trapped by duty, by love, by society.
She laments, "I cannot live with him. It is torture to see him." Even when Stiva, in a moment of manufactured remorse, is choked with sobs, she cannot bring herself to forgive him, questioning whether he is even capable of remorse at all, or if his tears are just another performance.
Can she even believe him? Probably not. What's particularly poignant is Dolly's feeling of being utterly trapped, a common plight for women in her social position during that era.
Yeah, what could she realistically do?
She acknowledges that if she could barely succeeded in looking after her 5 children in her own home, it would be far worse if she were to leave and try to manage independently.
The practical reality is grim.
But deeper than logistics, her love for him, despite his profound infidelity, also holds her back. She admits with painful honesty it was impossible because she could not cease to consider him her husband and to love him.
Still loves him despite it all. That's heartbreaking.
This intense internal conflict, this agonizing dilemma between her raw pain and her enduring attachment, sets the stage for a crucial turning point in the novel. The unexpected arrival of Anna Arkadyevna, Stiva's sister from Petersburg.
Anna arrives.
Matvey, Stiva's loyal valet, subtly hints that Anna might effect a reconciliation, that her presence alone could bridge this chasm of marital strife.
The fixer.
This initial domestic crisis in the Oblonsky household serves as a microcosm for the larger themes of the novel, immediately reflecting the clash between individual passion, societal duty, and the crushing weight of family expectations that will continue to unravel throughout the entire story.
Sets everything in motion.
Anna's pivotal role in mediating this conflict immediately establishes her importance, her almost magnetic ability to influence those around her, for better or worse.
Okay, now, let's shift our focus to a completely different corner of this sprawling world and introduce you to Konstantin Levin.
Yes, Levin, a very different energy.
We've just immersed ourselves in Stiva Oblonsky's seemingly glamorous, if chaotic, Moscow life, where he holds an important salaried position secured through his influential brother-in-law, Karenina, and is universally liked for his good temper and perfect indifference to the business.
Coasting along.
But then there's Levin. He is almost the antithesis of Stiva, not just in his lifestyle, but in his very soul, and that contrast is entirely intentional on Tolstoy's part, a foundational element of the novel's philosophical framework.
What's truly fascinating here is the deliberate contrast Tolstoy draws. Konstantin Levin is introduced as a university friend of the Sherbatskys, a noble, cultivated family embodying old Moscow aristocratic values.
Okay.
He carries a deep yearning for a stable, harmonious family life, a desire that was likely intensified by his own motherless upbringing, which left a significant void.
Looking for something he missed.
He had this profound fascination with the three Sherbatsky young ladies, Dolly, Natalie, and Kitty, seeing them enveloped in a mysterious and poetic halo.
Idealizing them.
Totally. He found their upper-class rituals, like speaking French and English daily, playing piano for hours, and having professors for various subjects, absolutely incomprehensible, yet paradoxically beautiful.
So foreign, but alluring.
It was this mystery of accomplishment, this seemingly effortless grace of their cultivated existence that he was especially in love with, representing everything he felt he lacked in his own life.
You could almost feel his yearning for that kind of domestic harmony, that sense of belonging and cultivated grace. And his affection for the Sherbatsky daughters has a history, a slow unfolding of his heart.
Yeah, it wasn't instant.
He almost fell for Dolly, who, of course, married Oblonsky. Then his attention shifted to Natalie, who married a diplomat. But through these experiences, he eventually realized with a profound certainty that Kitty was the one he was destined really to love.
Finally focus on Kitty.
This wasn't a fleeting infatuation. It was a deeply felt, almost spiritual recognition.
But this raises an important question. Why, despite his apparent eligibility, is it so difficult for Levin to pursue this love?
Yeah, he seems like a good catch on paper.
Tolstoy paints him as 32, of good family, possessed of a fair fortune, and an eligible suitor by all societal standards. Yet he is plagued by profound self-doubt, a debilitating sense of unworthiness.
He doesn't think he's good enough.
Exactly. He views Kitty as a creature so accomplished, her superiority was so above everything earthly, while seeing himself as earthly insignificant, ill-favored, dull, and good for nothing.
Wow, really down on himself.
His past relations with her, where he was an adult and she a child, also felt like an insurmountable obstacle, an awkward history that he felt tarnished his image.
That age gap thing.
This intense self-consciousness, this feeling of profound unworthiness when faced with someone he idealizes, is a powerful and universal aspect of first love, capable of humbling even accomplished, seemingly confident individuals. It's a deep dive into the psychology of romantic insecurity.
Levin's intellectual world is also deeply engaging, a reflection of Tolstoy's own philosophical inquiries. We meet his elder brother, Sergei Ivanovich, a renowned intellectual.
The academic brother.
And they delve into discussions about complex psychical and physiological phenomena. But Levin, ever the seeker of truth, restless and unconvinced by mere academic exercises, finds these abstract debates too detached from lived reality.
He wants something more practical.
Yeah, he feels they're always avoiding what he sees as the most important question of all, the fundamental questions of life, death, meaning, and faith. He wants to get to the heart of things, to wrestle with the existential, not just intellectualize around it.
And then there's Nikolai Levin, Konstantin's other, even more troubled brother.
Oh, the difficult one.
Nikolai is a stark, almost disturbing contrast to both Konstantin's earnest searching and Sergei Ivanovich's academic detachment. He's described as mingling with the strangest and most disgraceful society, a radical who has rejected the norms of his class and is constantly quarreling with his siblings.
Really gone off the rails.
Nikolai is a fierce critic of societal structures, particularly the exploitation of labor. He passionately argues that all the profits created by their productive labor are swallowed up by the capitalists.
So, very political.
Very. And he advocates for a locksmith's artel, a collective association where everything would be common. Work, profits, and tools, a precursor to socialist ideas.
What's an artel?
It refers to a traditional Russian collective of workers, but Nikolai pushes it to a radical, almost utopian vision. This dual intellectual pursuit between Konstantin's philosophical leanings and Nikolai's radical social views very much reflects the dual nature Tolstoy himself explored and struggled with throughout his life.
Right, that tension again.
The tension between abstract philosophical thought and practical, often messy societal reform. It sets the groundwork for deeper explorations of what constitutes a meaningful, ethical life, questioning established hierarchies and the very nature of progress.
Okay, now here's where we get to a pivotal moment for Konstantin Levin, a sequence filled with both soaring hope and ultimately crushing heartbreak.
Oh, the skating rink scene. It's iconic.
Imagine this picturesque scene. It's a cold, crisp day, and Levin is frantically agitated even before he sees Kitty at the skating rink. He's so nervous. His internal monologue is a desperate plea for control. Be calm. There is no reason for being agitated. What do you desire? What ails you? Be quiet, you fool.
Talking himself down. We've all been there.
Then, amidst the gliding figures, he discovers her and is instantly seized by a feeling of joy and terror. You can just picture her gracefully gliding towards him, her slender feet in high boots, exuding a certain timidity that only adds to her charm.
So elegant.
And her smile. He describes it as making him feel the sun was shining nearer to him. It's an almost cinematic moment of pure, innocent longing, vibrating with unspoken emotion.
And what's truly fascinating here is the delicate, almost imperceptible dance of their brief, charged conversation on the ice.
So much unsaid.
Kitty, with a playful smile that belies the undercurrent of emotion, remarks, "It seems to me that you do all things passionately."
She sees right through him.
It's an astute observation, capturing the very essence of Levin's earnest, intense nature. She then extends a simple, yet profoundly significant invitation to skate together.
A huge step.
This seemingly casual gesture stuns Levin. His internal thought, "Is it possible?" perfectly captures his disbelief and soaring, almost dizzying hope that his feelings might be reciprocated.
He can't believe it.
The physical connection, as they skate side by side, and the closer she held his hand, symbolizes the profound emotional connection he feels towards her, the tantalizing possibility of a shared future. It's a moment brimming with tentative intimacy, unspoken desires, and the intoxicating promise of reciprocal affection.
This emotional intensity, this sense of profound vulnerability and yearning, carries over into the next scene, a stark contrast in setting and social dynamics.
Yeah, the dinner scene. Very different vibe.
Stiva, ever the indulgent socialite, chooses a lavish dinner at the Anglia, one of Moscow's most fashionable and expensive restaurants, a stark contrast to Levin's earnest, almost humble desire for simple shi and kasha, just cabbage soup and gruel.
Simple versus fancy. Tells you a lot.
It's not just a preference for food, it's a statement about their contrasting values.
And this opulent setting perfectly amplifies Levin's inherent discomfort and vulnerability. He's deeply uneasy with the bronzes and mirrors, the superficiality and artificiality of such a place, fearing that his pure, profound sentiment for Kitty will be defiled by such an environment.
Doesn't feel right for something so serious.
Exactly. In this moment of raw honesty, he bares his soul to Stiva, confessing that his love for Kitty is not a casual matter, but a question of life and death for him.
Wow. Lays it all out there.
He articulates his profound sense of being utterly unworthy of her due to his past wickedness when facing a pure and innocent being.
Still feeling that unworthiness.
He even voices a deeply personal, almost desperate prayer for forgiveness and worthiness. "Pardon me not according to my deserts, but according to thy loving kindness." It's a raw, honest revelation that contrasts sharply with Stiva's casual, almost flippant approach to relationships and morality, highlighting Levin's deep spiritual and moral earnestness.
And then the scene that defines so much for Levin, the crushing rejection. The tension builds agonizingly as Levin, trembling, stumbling over his words, finally manages to murmur the most important question of his life. Be my wife.
Oh, the proposal itself. You hold your breath. And what's heartbreaking here is Kitty's immediate, almost reflexive reaction. She feels an initial ecstasy, her heart full of happiness.
So she feels something.
For a brief, intoxicating moment, she too is swept up in the possibility of this profound love. But this blissful impression lasts only a moment. Her sincere and liquid eyes, fixed on Levin's agitated face, suddenly shift as a devastating memory of Vronsky floods her mind, obscuring everything else.
Vronsky ruins it.
The crushing blow follows, delivered with a directness that mirrors the simplicity of Tolstoy's prose.
This cannot be. Forgive me.
Ouch, just like that. The contrast is immediate and stark for Levin. How near to him a moment since she had been, and how necessary to his life. And now how far away and strange she suddenly seemed to be.
Completely cut off.
This universal pain of unrequited love, combined with the complex web of emotions, Kitty's youthful infatuation with Vronsky, her societal expectations, and Levin's own profound sense of unworthiness, leads to a decision that defines Kitty's immediate future and profoundly impacts Levin's path, setting him on a new, more solitary search for meaning. Tag in T2 of Vronsky's allure. And Anna's first temptation, chapters 46.
Speaking of Vronsky, here's where he makes his grand, almost impossibly charismatic entrance. A striking figure who immediately complicates everything for Kitty and, as we'll soon see, utterly changes the course of Anna's life.
Enter the rival.
He's described with an almost perfect physical grace, dark, of medium stature and well-proportioned. His face was handsome, calm, and friendly.
Sounds pretty perfect.
He's the kind of man who effortlessly commands attention, radiating an almost magnetic self-possession that draws everyone to him.
And his presence at the ball immediately shifts the social dynamics, revealing the subtle currents and cruelties of high society.
How so?
Countess Nordstone, for instance, openly dislikes Levin and actively tries to make him ridiculous before Kitty, favoring Vronsky's effortless charm and sophisticated social ease.
Playing favorites, making it awkward for Levin.
Totally. There's even a spirited, if ultimately futile, discussion about spiritualism between Levin and Vronsky, with Kitty blushing in embarrassment for Levin's earnest, clumsy contributions,
Oh, poor Levin.
further highlighting the social awkwardness and intellectual mismatch between Levin's authenticity and this polished, superficial society. Vronsky, in contrast, simply glides through these situations with impeccable grace, his every movement and word perfectly attuned to the social game. This sets the stage for his devastating impact on Kitty.
Vronsky's inner world is built on a fascinating, if ultimately chilling, philosophy of life, one that justifies his pursuit of pleasure above all else.
Yeah, his personal code. Something else.
He believes humanity was divided into two absolutely distinct categories. The low order, who are trivial, stupid, and above all ridiculous people, adhering to traditional virtues like fidelity, responsibility, and the tiresome burden of paying debts.
The boring people, basically.
And then there's the vastly superior class, to which he and his friends unequivocally belong, characterized by being elegant, generous, bold, gay, unblushingly given over to every passion, and scornful of all the rest.
The elite, who can do whatever they want. It's a worldview that places them above ordinary morality.
And this worldview is absolutely critical to understanding Vronsky's actions and motivations, right?
Absolutely. It allows him to dismiss traditional morality and fully embrace his desires without internal conflict or guilt.
No conscience bothering him.
His apparent purity and freshness, as he himself feels after leaving the Sherbatskys, imbued with Kitty's youthful admiration, masks a deeper, almost profound self-absorption.
It's all about him.
He experiences a new sensation of tenderness caused by her love for him. But this isn't about deep connection or reciprocal emotional investment. It's about the pleasure and validation he derives from being loved and desired.
Just enjoys being adored.
This philosophy aligns perfectly with the frivolity, the tinsel brightness, the tumult and vanity of the worldly life theme we discussed earlier. It's a charming, almost irresistible facade, but, as we'll see, a dangerous one built on a foundation of moral relativism and self-interest.
And then the fateful meeting, the true genesis of the novel's central tragedy, a moment that crackles with unspoken tension.
The train station.
Yeah.
Chills.
Anna arrives in Moscow from Petersburg, ostensibly to mediate the crisis in Dolly and Steva's household, a mission of domestic diplomacy. But her first encounter with Vronsky happens at the train station, a seemingly mundane setting imbued with immense destiny.
And this moment is electrified with an immediate, undeniable connection, almost a chemical reaction between two powerful personalities.
Instant sparks.
Anna's dignified vivacity, her shining eyes, and a scarcely perceptible smile captivate Vronsky completely. He cannot keep his eyes from her face.
He's hooked immediately.
His internal monologue is direct and unequivocal. He knows as truly as if he had told her that he was there so as to be where she was.
Wow, intense.
What's truly ominous and a chilling piece of foreshadowing is the accident that follows almost immediately. A train hand is crushed to death by a passing train.
Oh, that awful accident.
Anna instinctively calls it an evil omen, a dark premonition of the tragedy their connection will inevitably unleash.
She feels it right away.
Vronsky, in stark contrast to Steva Oblonsky's horror, remains perfectly calm and handsome, almost untouched by the brutality of the event.
Doesn't faze him.
The subtle, unspoken tension between Anna and Vronsky, she demurely veiled the load in her eyes, but it shone against her will in her scarcely perceptible smile, signals the illicit, consuming passion that will soon define and ultimately destroy them both. It's a masterclass in establishing destiny in a single, charged encounter.
Okay, let's fast forward a bit now to the ball. A truly devastating scene for Kitty and a pivotal one for Anna.
The ball where everything changes.
Kitty prepares meticulously for this event, every detail of her elaborate dress feeling as natural as if she was born in this lace-trimmed ball dress, radiating youthful confidence and beauty. You can just picture her stepping onto the ballroom floor, expecting to shine, hoping for Vronsky's attention.
All dressed up, full of hope.
But then Anna arrives.
And steals the show.
Not just beautiful, but strikingly so, in a simple yet elegant black velvet dress, her plump shoulders and bosom smooth as ivory, creating an arresting contrast to Kitty's innocent radiance.
That black dress is famous.
What's fascinating here is Kitty's immediate sense of disquiet. Despite her admiration for Anna's beauty, she intuitively feels a powerful, almost unsettling allure emanating from her.
Something feels off to her.
As Anna waltzes with Korsunsky, her feverish brilliancy and an almost intoxication of admiration are palpable. And Kitty, watching from the periphery, observes Vronsky's gaze, which is filled with humility and passion.
No.
A gaze Kitty never received from him, a gaze of utter devotion fixed entirely on Anna.
That's the moment she knows.
This is the crushing realization for Kitty. The man she loves is utterly captivated by someone else, someone whose magnetism eclipses her own. She feels like a lovely butterfly caught amid grasses, her youthful hopes entangled and crushed, leading to her profound despair and eventual retreat from the ball, nearly in tears. It's a moment where innocent dreams collide with the harsh reality of powerful, illicit attraction.
After this devastating ball, a moment that solidifies the connection between Anna and Vronsky in a very public way, Anna makes a sudden, almost desperate departure from Moscow.
She runs away.
Pretty much. She is driven by a profound emotion at the thought of Vronsky, an overwhelming pull she barely understands herself. She leaves abruptly, almost fleeing what she's feeling, trying to put distance between herself and this dangerous, burgeoning attraction.
What's truly fascinating is Anna's immediate attempt at self-deception and rationalization upon her return to Petersburg.
Trying to pretend it didn't happen.
Exactly. She tries desperately to convince herself that Vronsky's passionate declaration was foolish and something easy to put an end to, and that there is nothing to tell her husband, Alexei Alexandrovich.
You're right. Good luck with that.
She desperately wants to return to her good and commonplace life with her young son Serozha and her distinguished husband. Yet on the train ride back to Petersburg, as she attempts to force her thoughts into conventional channels, she feels a growing sense of causeless shame and an unsettling agitation, a subtle internal torment that completely belies her outward composure and denials.
She can't just switch it off.
This is the agonizing beginning of her profound internal conflict, the battle between her burgeoning passion and her sense of duty and propriety.
And when Anna returns to Petersburg, we get a detailed glimpse into the city's high society, which, despite its polished facade, is tightly knit, yet subtly subdivided into distinct, often gossipy circles.
This social scene there.
Petersburg society is a truly complex beast, a world governed by intricate, often unspoken rules of decorum and appearance. We see, for instance, the official circle to which Karenina belongs, composed of his bureaucratic colleagues and subordinates.
Stuffy government types?
Anna, after her intense Moscow experience, finds them insupportable and hypocritical, feeling depressed and ill at ease among their cold, formal routines.
Can't stand them anymore.
Then there's the more fashionable society that revolves around Princess Betsy Tverskaya, Anna's friend. Here, passions are not only tolerated but almost cultivated, as long as they adhere to the unspoken rules of discretion and never break the outward facade of respectability.
Okay, to have affairs, just don't get caught.
Pretty much. Vronsky's anecdote at Betsy's house about cleverly reconciling a husband and wife after drunken officers harassed the wife perfectly highlights the diplomatic subtleties of this world, where scandal is avoided not out of genuine morality, but to preserve the appearance of order.
It's all about appearances.
It's a world built on profound hypocrisy, where actions are judged not by their inherent rightness or wrongness, but by their social implications and how skillfully they can be concealed or spun. Anna, with her passionate nature, is profoundly ill-suited to navigate these treacherous waters.
And what about Karenin himself and his husband? He seems almost willfully blind to what's happening right under his nose.
He doesn't want to see it.
He actively avoids Countess Lydia Ivanovna's well-meaning hints about Anna's impropriety. Choosing not to see the cold shoulder society is already beginning to give his wife.
Ignoring the gossip.
He even avoids thinking about Anna's insistent desire to go to Tsarskoye, where Princess Betsy lives, and, conveniently, where Vronsky's military camp is stationed. It's a deep, almost tragic denial.
But this raises an important question for us. Why this profound denial in a man so accustomed to clear-headed analysis?
Yeah, he's supposed to be smart, logical.
The novel reveals that despite his outward ignorance, in the depths of his soul he felt that he was a deceived husband, he had no doubt about it, and he suffered deeply.
So he does know. He just can't face it.
Karenina describes his torment with a chilling metaphor. feeling like a man whose bridge over an abyss, which represents actual messy life and emotion, is suddenly broken.
Wow. Powerful image.
He exists and labors primarily in a round of official duties concerned with the reflections of life, meticulously organized and logically sound. But whenever he came in contact with life itself, with raw emotion or unquantifiable human drama, he was revolted by it.
Can't handle real feelings.
His mind is consumed by his wife's behavior, but he formulates his planned report to Anna. His confrontation with cold, logical precision, almost like a bureaucratic document, utterly unable to deliver it directly or emotionally.
He's going to give her a report. Seriously.
He's a man who tries to analyze his way out of an emotional crisis, reducing profound human betrayal to a problem to be solved with logic, making his suffering all the more poignant and isolating. His denial is less about ignorance and more about an inability to process emotional chaos.
Okay, here's where everything truly explodes, culminating in a public, devastating confrontation. The Krasno-Silo races.
The races. Another huge turning point.
Vronsky, with his meticulous preparation of his prize horse, Frou-Frou, feels an almost physical nervousness that makes him want to prance and bite, much like the high-strung horse itself. He is utterly consumed by the race, a direct reflection of his passionate, all-or-nothing nature.
And this scene is a masterclass in dramatic irony and rising tension, a public spectacle designed to expose private agony.
Yeah, everyone's watching.
As Vronsky rides, Anna is in the stands, surrounded by Petersburg's elite, including her oblivious husband. The tragic turning point comes as Vronsky, in a moment of reckless overconfidence, falls from Frou-Frou during the race, accidentally breaking the horse's back.
Oh, the fall. And poor Frou-Frou.
Anna, witnessing this public humiliation and the sudden potential loss of the man she loves, lets out an uncontrollable groan of dismay, her face losing all presence of mind, trying desperately to escape the public gaze, like a bird caught in a snare.
She totally gives herself away.
This raw, public display of emotion unequivocally exposes her feelings for Vronsky, to Karenina, and to all of society. And the climax of this public unraveling. In the carriage after the races, with the weight of her exposed passion and the terrible accident pressing down, Anna, desperate and fully exposed, delivers her raw, unvarnished confession to Karenina. I love him. I am his mistress. I cannot endure you. I fear you. I hate you. Do with me what you please.
Whoa. Just lays it all bare. That's incredibly raw. Given Karenina's character, this moment must have shattered his rigid world. How does he even begin to process something so profoundly emotional and disruptive?
Karenina's reaction is chilling in its almost inhuman detachment. His face, we're told, assumes the solemn rigidity of a corpse.
Like he's dead inside.
He doesn't react with passion or anger or heartbreak, but with a cold, almost bureaucratic demand for the preservation of appearances, above all else.
Appearances, still.
His primary concern is his social standing, his honor. He declares he will maintain the facade until he decides on measures to save his honor.
Gotta figure out if it's a face.
He even, in a moment of devastating public performance, publicly shakes her hand, maintaining the outward appearance of normalcy, despite the private devastation that has just exploded between them.
Shakes her hand. After that, unbelievable.
This stark contrast between public decorum and private torment underscores the incredibly high price of illicit passion in this rigid society. It shows how profoundly their lives are shaped by societal expectations and how crushing the consequences are when those expectations are openly defied. The cost of passion in this world is not just emotional, it's a public unraveling, a loss of reputation that can be more terrifying than death itself.
Meanwhile, back in Moscow and then abroad, Kitty's journey takes a very different path after her crushing heartbreak at the ball.
Yes, let's check back in with Kitty. What's she been up to?
She falls gravely ill, a physical manifestation of her emotional wounds, and her family, desperate, decides to send her abroad to a spa for a cure after various remedies and doctors in Russia have failed to alleviate her mysterious malaise.
So Kitty's physical illness at the spa, following the heartbreak of Vronsky's apparent indifference and Levin's rejected proposal, is a profound mirror to her internal turmoil.
Body reflecting the mind.
It's a classic literary device, where the body reflects the soul's suffering. The novel highlights the contrasting attitudes of the medical professionals there. A celebrated specialist who, with a special satisfaction, insists that maidenly modesty is only a relic of barbarism, pushing for a more scientific, detached approach to her illness.
The doctor sounds awful.
This is starkly contrasted with Kitty's father, the prince, who dismisses the doctor as a humbug, recognizing that his daughter's illness is not merely physical.
Dad knows better.
Her father, in fact, attributes her illness directly to emotional distress, telling her with paternal bluntness that she should have married Levin, stating, you alone, are to blame for not accepting his proposal.
Wow, tough love from Dad.
This journey abroad, initially intended for purely physical healing, quickly transforms into a spiritual and emotional quest for Kitty, a search for meaning beyond the conventional social pathways she had previously pursued.
It's at this spa that Kitty meets Varenka, a woman who seems to be the very embodiment of selfless service and inner peace, a stark contrast to the superficiality Kitty has known.
Varenka, a really interesting character.
Varenka is a lady's companion to Madame Stahl, and she seems always absorbed in some important work, radiating an enviable calmness and dignity. She exists in a state of quiet, constant purpose.
And Varenka's life story is quite moving and telling. The daughter of a court cook, she was substituted for Madame Stahl's own dead child and brought up by her a life of duty rather than privilege.
Wow, quite a backstory.
Kitty is immediately, almost magnetically drawn to Varenka's tranquil, purposeful life, seeing in her a path to an interest in life, the dignity of life outside of the social relationships of young women to young men, which now seemed to Kitty like an ignominious exposure of merchandise waiting for a purchaser.
That's a powerful realization, seeing the marriage market for what it is.
Exactly. Recognizing the superficiality of her previous romantic pursuits. Varenka's simple yet profound actions, taking children from their baths, tirelessly helping invalids, skillfully diverting irritable sick people with her gentle demeanor, demonstrate a genuine spirit of altruistic service.
Real, quiet goodness.
This contrasts sharply with Kitty's prior experiences with superficial societal interactions and the self-serving nature she observed in Vronsky and Steva. Varenka offers a vision of purpose that transcends romantic attachment or social standing.
But this quest for a new, purer path also brings Kitty face to face with illusions, specifically in the figure of Madame Stahl, Varenka's patron, who is described as a sickly and excitable woman who made a public show of her holiness. Kitty, ever seeking authenticity, initially idolizes Madame Stahl.
Ah, Madame Stahl. Seems holy, but maybe isn't.
Exactly.
This is a crucial test of sincerity for Kitty, pushing her beyond mere imitation to a deeper understanding of true spiritual grace. Despite Madame Stahl's heavenly looks and her high-minded and affectionate discourse about charity and piety, Kitty begins to notice troubling peculiarities that cause her to doubt Madame Stahl's sincerity.
Like what? What does she notice?
For example, she observes Madame Stahl's disdainful smile when speaking about certain relatives, or her peculiar, almost judgmental reaction to a Catholic dignitary. These seemingly insignificant incidents reveal a subtle hypocrisy beneath the veneer of holiness.
The mask slips a little.
They teach Kitty in a profound way about the critical difference between outward piety, a performance for others, and a genuine inner spirit rooted in true compassion and humility. It forces Kitty to look beyond appearances and seek true authenticity in her own life, a vital step in her maturation.
Armed with these new insights and inspired by Varenka's example, Kitty enthusiastically embraces a charitable life, becoming a kind of sister of charity in the spa town, even dedicating herself to helping the invalid Mr. Petrov, believing she's found her true calling in selfless service.
Throws herself into good works.
Yeah, but...
This new world of charity initially brings Kitty immense consolation, allowing her to look down calmly on her past romantic failures and find purpose. She dedicates herself to helping others, experiencing a profound sense of fulfillment. However, the heartbreaking twist comes when Kitty begins to suspect, to her horror, that Mr. Petrov, the invalid she is tending to, has fallen in love with her.
Oh no, that's awkward.
Very. This leads to the Petrov family, sensing the awkwardness and impropriety, subtly avoiding her, a profound disappointment and a bitter dose of reality. Her horror at this unintended consequence makes her realize that her actions, though outwardly good, were in a deeper sense all hypocrisy, an attempt to seem better to others, to myself, to God, to deceive everyone.
Devastating, questioning her own motives.
It's a devastating moment of self-awareness. Her resolution in that moment is powerful and defines her new, hard-won integrity. I may be wicked, but at least I will not be a liar.
Powerful. Choosing honesty over false piety.
This painful disillusionment is a vital, if brutal, step in her journey towards self-awareness and integrity. It forces her to confront her own motives, to shed illusions, and to find truth within herself, rather than seeking external validation or a prescribed path to virtue.
And what does this all mean for Kitty's ongoing journey? After this whole odyssey through illness, despair, spiritual seeking, and ultimately a bitter disillusionment with superficial charity, she's left longing for what's real, what's authentic.
Where does she end up emotionally?
She dreams of the pure, healthier atmosphere of Russia, specifically Dolly's modest yet genuinely loving home.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture of the novel, Kitty's journey is one of shedding illusions and finding true authenticity.
Learning the hard way.
Her initial pursuit of an idealized romantic love, followed by her attempt to find meaning in a prescribed external form of charity, both lead to pain and disillusionment. But each experience, particularly her honest self-reflection after the Petrov incident, brings her closer to a more genuine self, a self rooted in integrity rather than performance.
Finding her true self.
She recognizes the enduring power of genuine connection, honest self-reflection, and the quiet dignity of duty, desiring the simple, unpretentious atmosphere of her family, a contrast to the glittering but morally hollow world of Petersburg.
Coming back to what matters.
It highlights that true healing and meaning aren't found in grand gestures or prescribed societal paths, but in the quiet, often unglamorous dignity of honest relationships and self-acceptance, lessons that profoundly shape her eventual destiny. #Shagnionix. Provocative closing thought.
So as we reflect on the intertwined yet vastly different paths of Anna and Kitty, we're left to ponder. How much of our lives are truly shaped by the conscious, deliberate choices we make? And how much by the powerful societal expectations, the unconscious desires, or the hidden weaknesses that quietly, or sometimes explosively, drive us?
And what does Anna Karenina's powerful, unflinching portrayal of consequence suggest about the true, often devastating cost of abandoning duty for passion versus finding a quiet, enduring dignity within the bounds of a more conventional yet authentic life?
Deep questions.
It's a question that resonates far beyond the 19th century Russian aristocracy, I think. #outro.
And there you have it. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us and this story. If you enjoyed it, a simple like or subscribe helps the channel out more than you know. Be good and take care.